Hello everyone, welcome to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. Today we are back with the following list of topics to discuss, so let's start. The first topic says recently about the saga of Chinese spy balloon. So we have seen that recently a Chinese spy balloon was flowing in the airspace of USA. So you can see the trajectory, okay, of the spy balloon which reached from Alaska to the regions of the mainland USA via Canada, crossing the Pacific Ocean. So recently, the United States shot down this Chinese surveillance balloon that had floated over their airspace. And this has been for several days, okay, triggering the latest diplomatic crisis amid already worsening situations between these two countries. So Beijing reacted angrily to the shooting down of this what US called a surveillance balloon, but Chinese authorities maintained that it was civilian airship used for meteorological purposes that had drifted off course. So Chinese military said that now it has got the right to take the same measures if a similar situation arose. So the appearance of the balloon in the skies over the western US state of Montana sparked an unexpected diplomatic row. At time, both sides were looking to stabilize increasingly tense relations. Okay, so now if I have to say about the spy balloon, so this spy balloon or the balloon system, which is said to be the spy balloon, this is around a decade and a half after the first ever hot air balloon took flight with humans, and balloons were already being used for various number of military purposes. Okay, so therefore this surveillance balloon, which was basically used by China for survey and for gathering intelligence in various number of areas which are basically their enemies. So this type of balloons has even been used by China in the LAC, that is the line of actual control. So a contemporary spy balloon is a piece of spying equipment. For example, the camera suspended beneath a balloon that floats above a given area. Okay, so that is even carried by wind currents. So you can see the status of this respective balloon which has entered the airspace of USA. Okay, so you can see they were collecting this airspace which was shut down. Okay, so balloons are one of the oldest forms of surveillance technology, and even the Japanese military used them to launch incendiary bombs in the US during World War II. So they were widely used by the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. And this modern balloon typically hovers between 24 kilometer to around 37 kilometer above the Earth's surface, which is around 8,000 to 12,000 feet above sea level. Okay, so therefore, this was a news that about the straining relations between US as well as China. Okay, next पे आते हैं. Turkey massive earthquakes and personal aid from India. So we have recently seen about the Turkish situation, how some three devastating quakes of 7.8, 7.6, and 6.0 has totally rocked this country, and more than 2,000 people, amounting to around 3,000 people, died in this respective incident. So therefore, recently, since India has sent various number of aids, okay, with a team of around 51% of NDRF equipped with various number of dog squads, medical equipments, paramedics, everything India has sent to this country. So even today, Turkish ambassador to India, Firat Sunel, referred to New Delhi as Dost, that is for friend, after the center decided to send relief and humanitarian aid to this quake-hit nation. Okay, so he even said in Turkish proverb that is a friend in need is a friend indeed. Okay, so he has also referred to this, and therefore we could see that we have been sending our NDRF peoples to these respectively quake-hit nations just to make them relief and rescue from all the crisis that this country has directly faced. So therefore, ये सबको रवाना कर दिया गया है इंडियन एयरफोर्स के ग्लोब मास्टर के द्वारा. Okay, so this has been recently discussed. Next आते हैं magnite in roadsides thus reveals source of pollution. So what is this all about? So recently what we have seen that जो मैग्नाइट का क्वांटिटी है ये अभी पोल्यूशन और जो आज के लेवल में पोल्यूशन हो रहा है ये बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में मैग्नेटाइट हम लोग का यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा मिलने लगा है. So geologists of even the Jadavpur University have found that they have got preliminary sense of pollution in an area by collecting roadside dust and testing it with magnetic fields. Okay, so the technique reveals the presence of different magnetic elements and by tracking them back to specific sources of pollutions. So today, this environmental magnetism is the study of magnetism as it relates to the effects of climate sediment transport pollution, and other environmental influence of magnetic minerals. So we all know about this element which is known as magnetite, which is an oxide of iron, and it is the most magnetic of all naturally occurring minerals on Earth. Okay, so it's basically said to be a natural magnet. It contains about 72% of metallic iron in it, and it is found in areas like Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Goa, and Kerala. So these magnetic properties of minerals are used as proxies for environmental change. Okay, and the main advantage of using magnetic measures are the magnetic minerals are most ambiguous and magnetic measurements are quick and often not invasive. So आज because of this environmental pollutions growing into prominence, we could see that आजकल के pollution में magnetite के properties ज़्यादा हो रहा है, which is basically a bad indication towards polluting environment. Okay, so that's why the recent study has proved the increased concentration of magnetite in the sources of pollutions. Okay, next पे आते हैं Google bird. So this Google bird, this is basically which has been unveiled by Google, okay, on an experimental conversation AI service called BART as it races to catch up with the wildly popular chatbot which is known as Chat GPT. Okay, so therefore today, according to the CEO Sundar Pichai, the service will be initially opened up to trusted testers before making it more widely available to the public in the coming weeks. So this announcement comes as the tech giant's flagship search business faces a renewed competition from its big tech peer Microsoft, which recently made a reported $10 billion investment in the upstart artificial intelligence. Okay, so आज ये competition के लिए आज इस bird को लेके आया है. So bird will provide detailed answers to users prompt such as plan a friend's baby shower, compare two Oscar-nominated movies, or get lunch ideas based on what is in your fridge. So BART can be an outlet for creativity and a launchpad for curiosity. So helping you to explain new discoveries from various points of the earth. So BART is powered by a language which is known as Lambda, that is language model for dialect applications, which is a large language model that was developed and released by Google in around 2021. Okay, so that was all about the BART, which is basically will provide detailed answers to user prompts such as all such number of questions that we have towards the respective element, which is basically an AI bot. Okay, so it's basically an AI service launched by Google. So we have to go forward with this क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो Microsoft backed है OpenAI, this is also the same thing like the Bard. Okay, so it has been launched previously. So आज इसलिए Google भी Bard को as a particular AI instrument यहाँ पे applicable करने जा रहे हैं. ठीक है, चलो लास्ट में आते हैं एडिटोरियल में. So यहाँ पे क्या बोला गया है? So it has been said about neglecting the health sector as consequences. So in this context, यहाँ पे जो allocations of the health sector है in budget 23-24 इसके बारे में discuss किया गया है. So we know that in the context of India, okay, recently we have seen that there are stagnant allocations in the budget of 23-24 for health, nutrition, and education. And it is also said the majority of the investments are focused on highways, speed trains, and airports. So the budget 2023-24 has made the following provisions: providing food grains to almost 80 crore people, development of 500 backward blocks, expanding access to housing, clean water and toilets, facilitating employment through the rural employment guarantee schemes, and providing skill development opportunities and youth. So in this context, we could see that today in this budget, it is argued that it is found that 230 million people slid into poverty due to COVID-19 pandemic. And according to such reports, we could see that the children below age at 55 years, 35.5% were stunted and 32.1% were underweight. And the budget allocation for midday meals was reduced to around 9%, despite the fact that the enrollment has shifted from private to public schools due to increasing unaffordability of the private schools. So आज हम लोग के यहाँ पे जो आज कम amount of money allocate किया गया है health sector में without giving any due interest. So the government should firewall its citizens from any such eventualities by improving its healthcare sector. So a political leadership adequately backed by funds is required to rebuild the public health system, promoting scientific research, and even expanding the health security. So the lessons learned during the pandemic should be imbibed while taking future actions. So therefore, if I say about the overall approach of this editorial, it is said that adequate allocations for the healthcare sectors are crucial, as neglecting it and denying critical investments in the sector can have serious consequences. So it is thus suggested that the government should infuse more resources into basic public services, that is basically health and education being the most important, instead of going for various number of investments with respect to highways, with respect to construction facilities, or various number of infrastructure elements. So that is what discussed in the present context of this editorial. Okay, so we have this 500 MCQs. Please do attempt these MCQs and do join our WhatsApp and Telegram channel for further updates. So that's all for today. Thank you and Jai Hind.